Cool. I think we're live. How's everyone doing? I'm caught. I'm caught, folks. My headphone. I'm a couple minutes early, so we're just hanging out. I haven't run the stream in a while, so the concern was it wouldn't work. So I started a little early. We're gonna wait for a few minutes, let people get in here. I know early for once, because sometimes it likes to die, because this computer's getting a little bit old. Now, good news, I am building a new computer. Bad news is that the graphics card and motherboard that got shipped to me disappeared from a warehouse, so probably stolen. So I was supposed to have it on the 23rd. It is now the 11th. I'm expected to get a replacement on the 14th. We'll see. I don't have high hopes. But, woo! Where's your drink? I'm not your mother. I don't know. I got my drink right here. Is the case of the missing graphics card the case we're solving? It should be. Rennie helped me with that one. She yelled at a lot of people for me. I was just very upset with a lot of people. But she was loud and upset at a lot of people. So that was a good time. That was great. Super excited about it. Anyway, how's everyone doing? How are you guys? Look at Hey, see Carl go. Thank you so much. I am. Yeah, it's finally got a haircut for once. I'm going to lose my beard this week, though. It's the last week I'm going to have it for a while. Because you know how the National Guard is. Can't have facial hair. It's fine. How's everyone doing, though? Hello, Christy from Georgia. Hope all is well there. I have 2 thumbs down before I even started. That's because I imagine it's police chief still being mad at me. He tried to engage with me through a different channel of his, and I was just like, bro, we're aware this is you. And he was like, oh, I don't know what you're trying to say. And we're like, calm down. So he disappeared for a while. I assume he's trying to make a lot of content about that very brief interaction. I assume he can get about 20 videos out of it. 5 comments. But we'll see. Back in the Red Bay waiting for warranty work on the camper. House goes in the market this week. Woo! Heck yeah, dude. Gotta get that warranty and camper stuff. How you doing, Dutch Doyle? Doing well. Feeling good. Been busy. It's been a very busy week. Yeah. Last 2 weeks I've been all over the state. A lot of overtime. My goodness. But overtime is good because they pay me more. It's taxed higher, but they pay me more. So, it's whatever. I don't know. I feel like we could start, though. I mean, do we think more people are coming in, or? I don't know. Where do I think Brian Laundrie is? Somewhere that people haven't looked yet. I'm guessing he's on back roads, camping in the woods. He might be on foot. I don't know. He had a vehicle. If he's still using it, he's not going anywhere very populated with it, but he's used to camping. He's used to being away from civilization. There is an enormous amount of ground to cover for looking for him. I know a lot of people are like, why hasn't someone been found yet? Like, you have no idea how much ground you have to cover to find somebody, which is why a lot of searches in this type of situation are actually passive. I don't think it's passive. Well, it's not passive for him anymore. It definitely started as passive, sort of like, we'll wait for him, which is the kind of thing that you do for AWOL soldiers. We don't go looking for AWOL soldiers. We wait for something to pop up. They use a credit card, they use their social security number, they get pulled over by the police, and then we come and get them. I've actually done that. I've gotten to, I transported a poor kid to Fort Sill, Oklahoma? got to fly on the plane armed. He was handcuffed with a, I think, we had a windbreaker with the pockets, the insides were cut. So he put the windbreaker on, he put his hands in the pockets, and then he was handcuffed, and that sort of hid the fact that he was handcuffed to keep attention down. It's really fun because you don't have to go through security. You go through this, like the entrance that the pilots go through. You sign a whole bunch of paperwork. You already have signed a whole bunch of paperwork which you present. You're introduced to the pilots. You're introduced to anyone else flying on the plane that is armed. So generally that's going to be air marshals. And then you just fly, and you are not allowed to sleep, and you're not allowed to fly for more than 4 hours at a time because of the concern that you will fall asleep. It's a whole thing. It sounds really cool. It's actually very, very boring. But yeah, they took him back. I think he was AWOL for 4 years. And I'm sure that he'd never completed basic, so I'm sure he had to complete that. Oh, poor kid. Oh boy. But yeah, it was a passive type thing. He got pulled over for having like a brake light out or something, and then police ran his information like, oh, he's wanted by the Army. Got it. But yeah, no, Brian Laundrie, I would assume a great way to search for him would be from the air, helicopter, plane, whatever. But if he's smart, he's going to tuck his car away. If he does still have a car, underneath, foliage, cover it with foliage, that sort of thing. Be a pretty difficult spot from the air. And then someone just has to encounter him on the road and actually identify his vehicle as the correct vehicle. Of course, alternatively, if he is a killer, I say if because he has not been found guilty in a court of law, though there are certainly some pretty strong and reasonable suspicions. He could have just killed again, taken a different car, and then good luck. That's going to make things even harder. But he's going to be on the run his entire life unless he turns himself in or is caught. So, wow. It's a situation. Dog was sued by a previous case. He tried to be a part of the Dateline case that aired Friday. Charges $10,000 to join. Huh. Wow. James K. 4 years AWOL and taken back. Well, the thing is, if you go AWOL, you're going back to finish either. Generally, they're going to force you to finish your contract. It's not going to go well for you at all. If they do kick you out, you're going to be in a, like, there are going to be some severe punishments. Now, you're still young. You never made it through basic. So my guess would be they have him finish basic, or maybe they don't because he never actually finished. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. Once he was out of my hands, he was out of my hands. I didn't care. But, poor kid. He was very nice. He looked like he was 16, but he was very nice. Dutch Noel, thank you so much for your donation, by the way. But anyway, you get me on a tangent about investigations. Could he ever get promoted? I assume so. I don't actually know how that would work. But he definitely owes the government something. I think he was a mineral hunter. He was living with his parents, so I don't know if they got hit with like harboring a fugitive or something. But he would get spare cash by mineral hunting and selling it to like rock shops or little like witchcraft stores, that sort of thing. And then maybe odd jobs for cash. Nothing that would require a social security number or anything like that. But the Merry-Go is a stream about Gabby Petito and Brian Landry. I don't know. No, it's not. It's about solving mysteries. I was just giving people a chance to join in. Candles are too high. It's true. They're very high. They're much higher than I expected. But I can't actually raise the camera any higher because the green screen only goes so high. You'll see the top of it. Is it a reliable source of income? Mineral hunting? Probably not, but, it's spare cash. If he's living with his parents, he doesn't really have that many bills. The stream is so mysterious. Yes! All right, time to start the stream. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to solve a mystery. The mystery today, as the previous mystery that I did on my channel, is from Whodunit Mysteries. And yes, it is a murder. In fact, it's not just any murder. It is, if I can get to it, The Bowers murder. Yes, that's the one. The murder of Bowers. I have not read this. I have no idea what this contains. Not a clue. Don't know what the characters are. Don't know the situation. Don't know the answer. It's in here somewhere, but I'm not going to look. We're going to go over it together. Now, during this, I'm going to be stopping. I'm going to be starting. I'm going to be reviewing what you think. So, bear with me while I go on my tangents, because I have no idea what's about to happen. I'm going to think this one through. It isn't necessary because they're definitely written so that you don't have to sit and consider all of the possibilities. But I did this professionally. I was a professional criminal investigator. So we're going to talk about how this would actually be investigated in the real world. And then we're going to try to solve some puzzles. So, let's begin. The Bowers murder was big news. Furman Bowers, an influential banker, had been executed in front of his open safe. Sounds like perhaps he had been forced to open that safe. At gunpoint, knife point, weapon point, I don't know, but doesn't look good. Definitely a crime. Murder, robbery, probably, robbery with a weapon, which is its own separate thing. Get, bigger charges. What is it? Aggravated robbery? Depends on the state. They'll all have different wording for it. The Chronicle, which I assume is the newspaper, had broken the initial murder. The Tribune had managed to get the first interview with the widow. And at the Sentinel, the editor was incandescent. What? I have no idea what that means. When was this written? Incandescent. 2018. What are you doing? Why are you using those weird descriptions? Maybe it'll make sense. I don't know. Josh Cole stoically endured the abuse the man hurled at him and left his office with the editor's final words ringing in his ears. "Get me a scoop, boy, or I'll turn your twitching corpse into our own big lead story." That sounds like communicating a threat. Vaguely. It's probably not actually communicating a threat, but it's very, very close. Folks, if you work for a place that says that they will kill you if you don't get a good story for them, maybe don't work for that place. Just a thought, just something to consider. There's got to be, that's like, contact HR. See what HR has to say about that. Josh closed the door, and the whole newsroom turned to look at him with expressions ranging from sympathetic to maliciously amused. Ignoring them all, he grabbed his coat and notebook and headed to It says lifts. I'm just confused. Ignoring them all, he grabbed his coat and notebook and headed to the lifts. I assume that means elevators for us Americans. His first stop was at Glinton and Mathers, attorneys at law. Furman Bowers' family lawyer, Daryl Dalton, had worked there for 8 years. Now, of course, remember that Furman Bowers is our murder subject. You know what? Since we're talking about him, let's put him down as our subject. Let's do that. Kaylee, did you miss the murder? No, it's happening right now. I mean, the murder has happened, but we're still investigating it. So, Furman B. Heck yeah, Furman B. You. Place of honor. Right next to the mermaid. A small, fidgety man, Dalton took no pains to hide his disappointment when Josh turned out to be a reporter rather than a potential new client, but grudgingly answered a few questions just to get rid of him.
"Yes, Mr. Cole, my client was having some temporary difficulties. No, I will absolutely not share any details on or off record."
Ladies and gentlemen, never give information off record. It's never actually off record. Don't think that by going off record you're actually hiding anything. Just don't. People try to tell me information off record, and I have to be like, stop. That's not how that works. You've been reading too many murder mysteries. Anyway.
"No, he had not received any threats, death or otherwise. No, he had no enemies, whatever that even means."
Surely he knows what having enemies means. But I digress.
"Suggestions that he was involved in anything shady are pure fabrications. To the best of my knowledge, Mr. Furman hadn't even heard of Benny Lucas."
Who's Benny Lucas? We'll get there.
No, I most certainly have never met Mr. Lucas or any of his representatives. Mr. Furman was an upstanding member of the business community and had no truck with organized crime. Oh, this guy's giving a lot of information that may not have been asked. That's okay. That does happen when you're interviewing someone or interrogating them, and they're like, no, I didn't do this. And you're just like, how do you know about all of that? They get real quiet. Now, I know that is a common trope in, TV shows or, I guess, books, but that does actually happen. It's not super common, but it happens, and it's always a great time to call them out on it because they get real quiet after that. Now, if you'll please excuse me, I have work to do.
Okay. Are we going to put down Daryl Dalton? Not yet, but we'll consider him. We'll keep thinking about him. Aaron, thank you. Aaron says, calling it now. A penguin did it. Those shifty birds are up to something. Always acting so cute and dressing above their station. How dare they? How dare those penguins? Yeah. Antarctica. What are they hiding down there, huh? Makes you wonder. Ruth Bowers, Furman's wife, was more forthcoming. She welcomed Josh in, poured him a coffee, and talked freely and movingly about her loss.
He was a sweet, gentle man,
she said.
I loved him very much, but he could be stubborn. I'm sure the assassins had to torture the safe combination out of him. That's probably why they killed him afterwards. Oh, I wish they'd seized me instead. I'd have just told them the combination, rather than force them into brutality and rage, and then we'd still be together. It's so senseless. Poor Furman said something about a Mr. Lucas the other night. Some bad sort, I felt, but I didn't pay close attention.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, assassin has a very specific sort of implication, which is an assassination is unlikely to be this. Now, hold on a second. So, if you're killing someone to get their money, that's not an assassination. That's a murder. Assassination is more, there's maybe a political reason for it, or maybe this guy did have ties to organized crime, and they want to look like a robbery, but it was actually an assassination, so they're like, get on your knees in front of the safe, pa-pa! And then, the safe was open to hide exactly what was going on. I feel like we're starting to put these clues together. Oh, Sarah Marie has helped me by saying incandescent, full of strong emotion or passionate. All right, well, I guess that makes sense. Thank you, Sarah Marie. Yeah, we suspect the wife, huh? Yeah. All right. Two other people had been around the house that morning. One was the gardener, Charles Hedrick. Ooh, Charles, I'm already suspicious of you. Who worked there 3 times a week. A hard, knotted old man. He was actively hostile. Very suspicious.
I'm sick of you newsies poking and prying, he declared. So what if it was one of the shotguns from the shed what did him? They're not mine, and it's not locked.
Why wouldn't you lock up your shotguns, is what I'd like to know. Suspicious.
I worked on the drainage in the South Lodge all damn day. I didn't even hear it. First I knew was the police bossing me around. I don't care if they're just doing their jobs. Nope. I don't care if you're just doing your job, Mr. Whoever you are. You're spoiling my lunch.
That is not an uncommon reaction to people asking questions. Certainly reporters. It's fair. I don't know. I can sympathize with him, but he's still on my list. We're going to, you know what? I feel strongly enough about it. We're going to put him on the list. But as with the last little mystery I did, I don't trust it when the person seems too bad, right? Like they're too angry, they're too upset. It's too close, right? They're written in such a way that you're supposed to believe that it's them. I don't trust that because, of course, they want some red herrings in there. But let's see, Charles. Now, we do have a murder weapon now. It appears to be a shotgun. You know how we do. I can't. It's good enough. Can't really see it. Don't really mind. It's fine. It's a shotgun. Sean Vest, thank you. Says, wasn't me. We'll see about... You know what, Sean? Not so sure about that. Sean. You're now a suspect, Sean. That's you. That's you right there. This guy. Don't think I'm not watching you now. Yeah. All right, where were we? The other person who had visited the house was a delivery man named Richard Kitts, who had been there to drop off some logs. Yeah, I went there, filled up his wood box, gave the missus the invoice, and then I left again. I was only there 2 minutes, and you can go ask the folks on my round before and after what time I was with them. I ain't seen nothing. No, I never heard of no Benny Lucas. What? Sure you said his first name. How else would I know it? No, I don't have no record. Where'd you hear that? Rubbish. Complete lies. You print that and I'll kick your shiny head and bust in. That's a promise. Then I'll have some lawyers sue whatever's left. Wearily, Josh headed back to the office. But before we talk about him heading back to the office, we have Richard Kitts as a suspect. Richard K. Logs. Okay. Yeah. Yep. We got 3 suspects. The wife, we're keeping her in mind. Anyone who's brought up by name, I'm keeping in mind. There's Benny Lucas. People keep referencing Benny Lucas. I don't know who Benny Lucas is yet. There's the lawyer. The safe was open. We're not even at the end yet. I still want to go through this. The lawyer would know what was in that safe, presumably. There might be some important documentation the lawyer had to sign or review or help draft. What if he was involved and wanted to get that? Surely he could have just made a copy while drafting it. I don't know. We're not putting him up there yet, but his name is still a thing. We're still worried about that. Who was the... Now, the editor doesn't seem to have a name, so we're not going to put the editor up there either. But the editor is awfully aggressive about this. I don't know. Reading too much into it. We're not even at the end yet. Wearily, Josh headed back to the office. The Bowers file stared at him balefully. As stories went, a widow's grief wasn't going to cut it. He flicked through the crime scene photos that his police contact had given to him, and every other journo? Journo? Journo. Journo? Does it mean journal? Is it a different word for journal? Where was this published? Why do I feel like this is British? Sarah Marie, help me. Oh, yeah, okay, this was published in London, so, words, right? Yeah. Oh, journal being journal, a shortened version of journalist. That sounds reasonable. See, this is why I have the chat. Help me figure these things out. Scriptcat asks, was anything taken from the safe? Doesn't say so yet. It might at the end here. We're almost at the end. Let's see. Okay. And every other journal on the story, damn it, Furman's body had been removed before they'd been taken. So when the photos were taken, the body was not present, which is fair because, well, actually, only if it was suspected that he might survive. You're generally only going to remove a body if there are still signs of life, any activity. Otherwise, you'll leave him there, right? You'll have a medic, check on them if there's a pulse, if there's whatever, if half their head is missing, obviously you're not touching them because you're not going to revive them. But if it's something like a gunshot wound to the gut and they're still twitching a little bit, you're probably going to get them in an ambulance to a hospital. But why would they remove the body before the pictures? Because they're bad at their jobs, perhaps. It happens. It's fine. I'm looking too much into it. The safe was wide open and completely cleaned out, the bare metal gleaming. Blood soaked the floor and the wall around it and almost entirely hid the maker's name on the front of the heavy door. The carpet was just a sea of mess. The corner of an untidy desk in the foreground took up a chunk of the picture. It was covered in papers, files, and ledgers. He leapt to his feet and dashed to the editor's office, barging straight in. "I've got it," he told his startled boss. "I know who killed Bowers." What has Josh noticed? Hint, photos. So the hint is in the photos. Daryl Dalton. We're putting Daryl Dalton. Daryl Dalton's the attorney. We're putting Daryl D. Daryl D. I don't know. I'm going to put Daryl right at the top there. I don't know. There's something about... He's described as fidgety. He answers some questions. No death threats, no enemies. Nothing shady. Who's Benny Lucas? Okay. Lawyers always are suspects. That's fair. That is fair. All right. Crime scene photos. The safe was wide open, completely cleaned out. All right, so whatever was in the safe was not there anymore. Presumably there was something in the safe because generally if you have a safe, there's a reason for that. Maker's name on the front of the heavy door. I don't think that's going to be relevant. Wait a second. If the maker's name was covered, the safe would have been closed. Because the maker's name's on the front, unless it was only the safe door would not have been fully open. There's a possibility that it could have been unlocked but not fully open. I think the safe might have been closed. Soaked the floor and the wall. Almost entirely hid the maker's name. Heavy door, carpet was a sea of mess. The corner of an untidy desk in the foreground took up a chunk of the picture. It was covered in papers, files, and ledgers, which are all things I'd expect to find in a lawyer's office. Influential banker had been executed in front of his open safe. It doesn't say where the safe was. That feels like an intentional omission by the author. So who would have access to the code? Wouldn't have been... I don't think it's going to be Richard, which is our delivery man. I don't think the gardener would have access to the codes. Now, a shotgun from the garden was used, which means whoever shot him would have known that the shotguns were there. And this was at his house because it was on his ground. So the safe was at his house. The person would have known that there were shotguns in the shed. I don't know, Sean, did you know there were shotguns there? I don't think you did. We're going to cross you off as a suspect as well. Okay, now that leaves Daryl D. But it also leaves the wife. We're putting her up there. Because now all of a sudden... Okay, scoot down. Yeah, there we go. All right, it's one of these two. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, folks. It was the wife, you say. Luke Alpha says it's the wife. Do we think that one of the papers, files, or ledgers was divorce paperwork? The wife did say assassinate. That's different than murder for money. She would have had access to the house, access to the safe. She would have known the code. She would have known the shotgun was there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the wife. It's got to be the wife. The wife would have known all of these things. She would have had a reason to kill him if that paperwork was something like divorce. Let's talk. Let's see. What did Daryl say? Daryl said my client was having some temporary difficulties. Mr. Cole was having temporary difficulties. So says the attorney. What would those temporary difficulties be? Something marriage related, something about relationships, divorce. I think, or pictures of him cheating. Wouldn't that be interesting? Where's this organized crime thing coming from? I think that's just to distract me. I refuse to be distracted. All right. Nothing shady, no enemies. Something about Benny Lucas. Nothing. Upstanding member of society. It's gotta be the wife. What do we think? What do we think, ladies and gentlemen? Are we feeling the wife? I'll wait. I'll see what you guys think. The merry-go. Where'd I get this? I think I just found this in like an antique store. It's an Avon glass. They're not super hard to find. They're around. Fun. We think it's the wife and an accomplice? Let's take a look at what the wife said again. I loved him very much, but he could be stubborn. I'm sure that the assassin... I think that's the giveaway. She said it was an assassin. I don't think it was. Had to torture the safe combination out of him. That's probably why they killed him afterwards. So that would explain why the safe was still closed if they had the combination. But you don't kill somebody until you check to make sure the combination works. That's just sloppy murdering. Something, Lucas Furman. Huh. Okay. Being the wife and the lawyer? I think it's at the very least. Oh, the wife and the lawyer brought up this Lucas guy. You're right. Both of them brought it up. We think they're in it together. The merry-go says, I think just the wife. But they're both bringing up Benny Lucas. So maybe they're trying to concoct a told Furman about it. We talked to, or not Furman, told Daryl Dalton about it, but Daryl Dalton was talked to first. So who brought up Benny Lucas? Those are questions. All right, I think it's the wife, and I think it's possible that the lawyer is in on it as well. Now, if we were investigating this for real, of course, we do fingerprints on the shotguns. Look for footprints who had access to the safe. Talk to everyone who could possibly been there, seen it. What was the motivation? What were those documents? Of course, I'm sure the police would have picked up on that, but in this case, we don't have that. We just have what's written here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say wife. And I'm not going to be surprised if the lawyer is in on it as well. So if we go to page whatever. The Bowers murder. Are you guys ready? We're ready to find out. James K. asked, did the crime taking place in modern times? I don't believe so. But I'm not sure. All right.
Solutions to the Bowers murder. In the crime scene photos, the area around the safe is covered with blood, as is the front of the safe, but the inside of the safe is completely clean. All right, we're already well past that. Bowers was killed before the safe was opened. It makes no sense that a robber would have shot him after gaining the combination, but before he'd opened the safe, in case the door was not really unlocked. I called it! I said that would be sloppy burglaring. I was right. A little bit of celebration for me. It's just water. But his wife knew the combination already. When the story broke, the police arrested Ruth, and she eventually confessed. Furman was bankrupt, and they were facing destitution. So she drugged him. Why would she? Okay, fine. Then staged a murder robbery to try to claim on his insurance. Checks out. See, I was thinking divorce, but being broke works as well. That would explain the troubles he was in, according to the lawyer. Got it. Bam. It's the wife. She shot that dude. He is dead. She's in jail. She confessed like a fool. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not always in your best interest to talk to the police. Sometimes it is a good idea, but not if you've killed a dude. Now, when I say sometimes it's a good idea to not talk to the police, it's generally because if you've done something wrong, obviously that's going to be a bad idea. If you haven't done something wrong, you might say something that still gets you in trouble. And the reason I say that there are certain times where you would want to talk to the police is if you haven't done anything but they suspect you of something, you might have a really, really good alibi that is foolproof and you want to say it right then. If you don't talk to them, there's a good chance that you might get arrested, but it's not gonna. You're gonna be fine. Talking to the police just sort of prevents them from arresting you at that point. It's really more of a convenience thing than anything else. Doesn't really matter. This is a whole topic for a different thing. Yeah, don't. There are situations where you do want to talk to the police, but they are very, very situational dependent. If you don't know what those situations are, I would recommend not. Drugging him so he can't fight back. That checks out. That's a good call. I'm not much of a drugger, so yeah. Good. How do you feel about that? How was that? I should be a detective, says Kaylee. Yes. Yes, if only that were a thing. Where's my badge? It's around here somewhere. Doesn't matter. Anyway. Then who shot him? I'm the wife would have shot him. She drugged him and then shot him. Why am I not a voice actor? I don't know. Anyone hiring? Who wants to hire me as a voice actor? I'll do it. I'd love to be a voice actor. I think it'd be really fun. I get to just talk for money. That's the dream. I already talk. Pay me for it. Up high on my right. My right? A hat. I got some stamps I liberated from a CID office. This record was obtained pursuant to the Right to Financial Privacy Act of 1978, 12 U.S.C. 3401. Oh, there's a lot. Oh, there's a lot more. Anyway. That's where it was. No, I moved it. Oh, I know where it is. It's, ow. Ooh. Texas deputy. Because I have a face for radio. I should do Audible. I mean, I'm down for that. No, I'm looking at the badge right there. It's on my, attached to my vest. It's fine. All right, Eva, you don't like murders. How about a robbery? How about a little bit of theft, huh? How do we feel about that? Because that's the next case.
A squeaky squeak. Squeaky squeaker. Squeaking. Yeah. That didn't work. It's all right. But anyway, yeah, I'm liking this. It's nice and chill. Next stream, I'll probably do something related to auditors or sovereign citizens. But, you know, I like having some of these floating around. Of course, I do intend to take this, edit it down so that it's more accessible to other people. But yeah. Anime companies are horrendous to work with. You know what? I wouldn't know anything about it, but I'm not terribly surprised. So I feel like there's just a lot of pressure to get things done real quick when it's like a series. But I wouldn't know. Also, you gotta match up the English to the mouth, and that's difficult. Oh no, James K, thank you. Oh no, thank you. James says, thanks for hanging with us, Blue and Rennie. Oh, we're having a great time. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's great. All right. A vexing theft. Mary Miller let her friend pour her a strong cup of tea, then patted her on the arm.
Please do tell me what happened, my dear.
Sighing, Eldora Watson glanced down at her... Sighing, Eldora Watson glanced down at her own teacup. I don't have too many female voices in me. We're just gonna go the same voice but higher.
The Etruscan necklace was stolen last night during the storm. Thieves were prowling around while I was in the next room. It was horrifying. Terrible. Is the Etruscan the one with the sapphires? That's it. Matthew discovered the theft late at night. And woke me up. Whoever it was broke the library window, smearing mud all over the carpet.
It's probably the worst part, the mud.
And took the necklace from its case. They obviously knew where it was. Nothing else was disturbed. I suppose I should be grateful I wasn't injured. And you didn't hear anything?
Miss Miller asked.
No, but between the downpour and the thunder, I'm not that surprised. It's most distressing.
Ow. This is very painful to do. Miss Miller took a slow slip of her tea.
What time did you retire? Yesterday afternoon was the James Hayton wedding. It was lovely, but quite tiring, and that thunder strained my nerves. I went to bed at about 10 p.m. when the storm was finally clearing, and I was out like a light. It never occurred to me to check in the library. Why would it?
Why, indeed.
What about your staff? Well, Alfreda worked until 9:30.
You know what? She's getting Miss Piggy as a voice, because I need something distinct, not that high.
And then she went out to meet friends. She didn't get in until the morning, but that's fine. I knew she'd be out. Matthews is typically up until 11 p.m. He was doing his final rounds when he found that necklace had been stolen. Mrs. Beasley leaves after dinner is served every evening at 7 p.m. Then there's Mr. Rowland and his boy Merritt Smith. They sleep in the gatehouse rather than up here. I've spoken to Mr. Rowland. He said, as best I can quote, "Not a soul trod the drive between the end of that rain and the ladies returning after 7 this morning, but the devil himself could have driven a herd of tigers up there during that deluge."
Sarah Marie, thank you, says, do we name the Mercop yet? We haven't. We'll get to that.
And I'd be none the wiser. He meant Mrs. Beasley and Alfreda, of course, who got in at the same time.
She paused.
You tigers even heard? They're solitary creatures, but I believe the fashionable term of venery is an ambush of tigers. Your gardener sounds like a fanciful fellow. That he is, Eldora agreed. Makes him quite the wizard with the flower bed. Yes, he's very good, Miss Miller smiled. Now, perhaps I should have a little look in the library.
We have some names. And a victim. I'm stuck. Irish Girl, thank you. Says, love the mystery streams, love your modified set. It's good, right? I'm having a lot of fun with this set. It's spooky season. I might as well. All right. Eldora. Yes, Eldora. Interesting name. I have no comment on it. It's fine. That was weird. Anyway, it got stuck. It sounds like when Stewie does a woman's voice. That's fair. Brian. Let's see. All right, staff. We'll go through some staff. We got Alfreda. Now, Alfreda was out with friends, but she would have known where it was. She could have instructed somebody to go in there. Now, do remember that someone broke in, tracked mud everywhere, so perhaps they weren't. One of the staff told them where it was. And it's entirely possible that Alfreda here wanted to be out so that they weren't suspected. Ah, okay. All right. Not a bad thought. Who else we got? Matthews. Oh, there are a lot of people. All right, Matthews found the necklace was gone. Okay. It's possible. Maybe something happened. Maybe he stole it, reported it, tracked in mud himself. Who knows? Mrs. Beasley. All right, Matthews is typically up until around 11 p.m. He's doing his final rounds when he found the necklace. So he would have found that necklace between 10 and 11. 10 to 11. Okay, now there's Mrs. Beasley. She is leaving at 7 p.m. every evening. So she would have been gone. She could have come back. Struggling to remember how to do the 7 backwards. It doesn't matter. All right. Leaves at 7. It's fine. I got to stop bumping my microphone. Don't worry about it. We're going to figure it out real quick. All right. Mr. Rowland and his boy, Merritt Smith. What do you mean Mr. Rowland and Merritt? If Merritt Smith is his boy, why do they have different last names? Unless boy means his assistant. I'm going to assume, because otherwise I'm really not sure what's happening. Rowland and Smith. Rowland plus Smith. See, in the gatehouse, so they, maybe could have been around. A lot of questions, kind of not sure. Let's see. Mr. Rowland says not a soul trod the drive between the end of that rain and the ladies returning after 7 this morning. But the devil himself could have driven a herd of tigers up there during that deluge, and I'd be none the wiser. So, because of the storm, he may have missed something happening outside. I'm a little suspicious of Mrs. Beasley. Because if he's saying, he, of course, being Mr. Rowland, is saying not a soul trod the drive between the end of that rain and the way he's returning, and Mrs. Is Mrs. Beasley staff that lives in the house though? I mean, we're not at the end yet. I still got some pages left. I feel like I'm trying too hard to figure it out too early. It's fine. Tracking the mud is something, though. Now, of course, when we're looking at mud and tracking, we definitely want to look at boot or shoe pattern, if there is a boot or a shoe. Any prints outside are probably going to be washed away by the storm, but inside, we can at least get the size of the boots or shoes or footwear, which would be pretty important. Does it say anything about that? It's fine. It's fine. We'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. It doesn't matter. It's whatever. All right. So, if you remember, Mrs. Miller was asking if she could have a little look in the library. Oh, I bet we're going to find out more about the footprints. It's fine.
Of course. We haven't cleaned in there, you understand?
Oh, no, this is much shorter than I thought it was. I was looking too far ahead. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
The police asked me to leave it as it was.
Checks out. Mrs. Miller nodded, and the two ladies went across to the library. One pair of windows stood half open, a shattered pane clearly visible at the bottom of the left-hand frame. Now, I don't know if this is going to come up. When you have a broken window, you do want to make a note of where the glass is. Is it inside or outside? I don't know if it's going to be important. I'm just throwing it out there now. The latch was flipped up carelessly. Mud was smeared in a thick line from the window to the necklace case. The thief had been careful to avoid visible footprints, opting instead to leave long, dragging streaks. This thief is good. It's not perfect, because you're still going to get a width, which you can use to hazard a guess. But you're not going to get a length. It's fair. Water had leached out of the mud deposit, staining the delicately pale carpet obvious against the pristine conditions of the rest of the floor. The case itself had been flipped open. Apart from the initial shattering of the glass, it would have been a quiet theft. When she got it closer, Miss Miller could make out a few smears of mud on the windowsill itself. Apart from those, the sill was spotless. Just outside, the ground was churned up, but no clear footprints were visible. Yeah, that's why I figured. The windows were opened about halfway more than wide enough for a man or a woman to get through. Okay, so we can't use that to determine the width of the person, because it would have been the width of a man or woman plus another half. Yeah. There was a stretch of unmarked carpet, and then the mud smears began. Miss Miller backed away from the smears again to stand next to a tall case of books.
My dear Eldora, I'm afraid I know the identity of your thief.
Who does Miss Miller suspect, and why? The hint is storm, because of course it is. Aaron, you are a smart person. Wobble your feet while you slide forward to obscure width. You got to be careful, because when your foot stops, have you ever done this in the snow? You'll notice that, whatever your final resting place is going to leave more of an imprint, even if you're sliding going all over the place. But that is a very good point. MSCB says, I'd be pissed about mugged on my rugs. Yeah, me too. Especially whenever this takes place. I don't know when this takes place, but it feels old-ish. All right, so what we got? We got a window, but the way the windows were open doesn't really tell us anything about who could have climbed through it. There's mud on the windowsill, which makes me think that someone stepped on it, but nothing else is there. The sill was spotless except for that. If there was a storm, they'd be wet, so presumably there would be maybe water spots. I don't know. The ground's churned up, and no clear footprints were visible. Windows were open. To get through. There was a stretch of unmarked carpet, and then the mud smears began. So, they could have jumped in, or someone took some boots, Stomp them around, cover them in mud, put them on inside, maybe rested the boot on the windowsill to lace them up, and then started dragging their feet. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say these are your feet, all right? You got feet here. All right, and you got to put boots on. Well, maybe you let me give you a different finger. You extend one foot out, and then you take your hands and my hands are not that flexible. Can I do this with my hand? Yeah. So you got your hand right here, and you gotta lace it up right there, and then you switch your feet and you lace it up. Right. You want to have that foot elevated for the lacing. That's what I think happens. They put the boots down inside. Put their foot on the windowsill, lace it up, and then started dragging things around. What do we get? What do we think? Wrong size boot to begin with? Absolutely. Absolutely. Could there be two? Could have tossed it down to a second person. Oh! Mr. Rowland and the boy Merritt. There are two of them. These guys right here, they sleep at the gatehouse. They would have been... They're the ones that said that they didn't see anybody, but maybe they wouldn't have because of the storm. Of anyone trying to cover this up, that is their best... That's the best person to believe would cover it up because they're the people who are going to know if people are coming and going. So if they're the ones who did it, obviously they can be like, oh, I don't know, it's crazy as fuck. Churned up makes me think two people were there as opposed to one person. I like this two people thing. Now, before that, let me move this out of the way. I did, bit of a glare, think that Mrs. Beasley was the best option because she leaves at 7. She would have had time to, stay in the area, come back, whatever. But of course, Rowland and Smith are also there at the gatehouse. They would have had to walk through the mud in the first place. What floor is this library on? Probably the first floor. Presumably these people would have known that it was there because they work there. Eva says one on the inside, one on the outside. But then there's still mud. Let me take another look at the mud bit. Mud was smeared on a thick line from the window to the necklace case. The thief had been careful to avoid visible footprints, opting instead to leave long, dragged streaks. Water had leached out of the mud deposit, staining the delicately pale carpet. Case had been flipped open. Been a quiet theft. Few smears of mud on the windowsill itself. Just a few. I'm still getting that feeling that they used the windowsill to lace up the boots. Aaron says, if only all crimes were this easy to solve. Right? Open about halfway. Stretch of unmarked carpet has got to be relevant. Let me take another look at the people. Mr. Rowland and his boy Merritt sleep there. Not a soul trod the drive between the end of that rain and the way he's returning after 7 in the morning. Mrs. Beasley came in at the same time as Alfreda, who left at 9:30 and went out to meet friends. Gardner sounds like a fanciful fellow, makes him quite the wizard with a flower bed. What do we think, people? What do we think? Beasley did it, is what I'm hearing. But why? See, MSCB, that's what I'm thinking. Someone walked around without shoes and put muddy shoes on to point to the gatehouse guys. That's kind of what I'm feeling, but I don't want to be wrong in front of all of you on stream. All right, Luke says the gardener put boots on a tiger and herded it to steal the stuff. Tigers can leap a good distance. Yes. It sounds more like a math problem than a murder mystery. Yeah, no, the carpet's got to be important. The storm is the clue. I'm going to lock in an answer, I think. I think it's Rowan and Smith. I think Rowan boosted Merritt through the window. And that's why the ground is all churned up. They said they hadn't seen anybody, but of course they weren't there in the first place. Maybe he did like a little somersault through the window. But then why is there a stretch of carpet? So you'd have to go back through the window, right? But Karen says somebody at the bottom muddied the boots and tossed them up to the inside person. That's why when they caught them, the boots smeared the window. But why would you, if someone's already outside, why would you need the boots to be muddy? Because their boots are going to be muddy. And if someone's inside, why would you need to break the glass in the first place? You know? Why would the water seep out of the mud? Well, I mean, it's very wet mud. It will do that. Do we think that... Maybe that is important. Hold on. Stolen before the storm was cover. That would implicate Matthews. Matthews is the one that found it, doing final rounds. He could have gone out, made the footprints, and left it there. Do we know when the storm was? It was lovely but quite tiring, and all that thunder strained my nerves. I went to bed around 10 when the storm was finally clearing. So this would have had to happen probably before. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. The only water on the carpet is from the mud. So the storm would have cleared by the time this happened. Or the person did it from the inside and had boots muddy and ready to go. There's so many questions. There's so many things that are not answered by this. And there's got to be something useful in here. And somebody rested the boots on the windowsills and then came around and walked. Someone muddied the boots, just blip, 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 put them on the windowsill and came. But then why would you break? This one's a puzzler. Who would have a motive to do this? Money. It's an Etruscan necklace with sapphires. They knew where it was. Ooh. Okay, so the only water on the rug is from the mud, which means one of two things. Either it was stolen between 10 and 11. I just had a thought. We'll get to it. Or someone muddied the boots but didn't go out into the storm and stole it prior to that. But presumably, Eldora Watson would have heard the glass break. She went to bed at 10 and was out like a light. So it still could have happened between 10 and 11. Oh, I'm dying here. The doors opened during the storm. It would have rained in the house. Oh, Neil. It would have washed the mud off that windowsill for sure. So this would have to happen between 10 and 11. If this isn't right, I'm going to be so mad. It would have had to have happened between 10 and 11. It couldn't have been raining because the mud would have been washed off the windowsill. There would have been water on the carpet. Here, Neil, I think you solved the case. I think you solved it. Which means if the storm was ending, then our boys, Roland and Smith, would have seen whoever did it. But they're saying they didn't, which implicates them. What do we think? What do we think about that? How do we feel about that? Do we feel good about that? I feel good about that. Maybe it might not be right. Right, it would have to be after the storm. The storm was clearing up at 10. And I like that it's the two of them because the grounds are all churned up. Mud was smeared in a thick line. Careful to avoid visible footprints. Perhaps careful to avoid it because their footprints were small. Because they were young. Yes. Yes, I think we're here. I think we've got it. Just outside the ground was churned up. I mean, it could have been staged. But if it was staged, it wouldn't have been Alfreda, because she was gone out with friends. Presumably, they would back that story. We have no reason to believe that she didn't. And since we had to be able to solve this, is written in a way that has to give us enough information to solve this. So I think Alfreda is out. You know what? I'm taking her off the board. Mrs. Beasley is still in the running. She would have left at 7. It never said she actually left the property. We don't know if she lives on site in the house. I believe she does because it specifically says that Roland and Smith live in the gatehouse instead of in the house. So presumably the rest of her staff live in the house. And it could have been someone that stayed behind. I just don't think that this is written in a way to really indicate that. If anyone was squishing up the outside, surely the people in the gatehouse would have seen that after the storm had passed. So either they're lying or incompetent, or they're in on it. And I feel like we just don't have enough for 3 different people. as this is written. Now, in a real scenario, absolutely, you do some pretty serious interviews on this. But I don't know. Of course, you'd check the case for fingerprints. You'd do all sorts of stuff. You'd still measure those lines to see what you get out of it. But we don't have that because it's a book. I think the most plausible thing here is Roland Smith. I'm going to do Roland Smith. The second best guess is Matthews staged the entire thing, then pretended to find it. And I assume because it doesn't make reference to it, the window actually was broken from the outside. Otherwise, that's a pretty substantial clue. So I don't think it would have been Matthews, because if he's doing rounds, I presumably would be inside the house, although that's not always the case. But it doesn't say anything about him being out in the storm. There's so much stuff. Right. Karen Gwatkin says, neighbor, Mrs. Beasley staged. I mean, Mrs. Beasley is still on that list. Wait a second. Oh, I wrote down 10 to 11 on Matthews, being like, aha, something in there. But no, that was just a guess, because it was in his final rounds. Yes. Is the motive anything other than money? I'm going to lock it in. I gotta, because I'm taking too long on this. We're doing Roland and Smith. The Mr. Roland and his boy Merritt Smith, the ones that sleep in the gatehouse rather than up there. I'm not 100% on this. I'm not. I don't like coming to conclusion without being 100%. But it's all right. We got plenty more of these to get correct. What happens if I'm wrong? What's the punishment? What's my punishment if I'm wrong? I got the hot sauce. Just drink some of that. Do a shot of it. Big bob to the head. Hot sauce? Just stuck this on my nose. All right. Should still be safe to consume. All right. Makeup looks good on me. Yeah, I just look naturally this good. Don't know what to tell you. Throw the hamburger helper everywhere. Oh, I do have a box of it somewhere. I still have one left. What is the hot sauce? I probably need different hot sauce, because I accidentally dropped this today and it cracked to the top. All right, I think too old to drink. Yeah, you might be right. It might be too old to drink. All right. Big bopper to the buzzer if I'm wrong. Okay. Because I'm not confident with my assessment. Excuse me. What do we think? I don't like this. I don't. No. It's not broken. The glass shards are not broken. It cracked the top of the cap, the plastic cap. All right. Vexing theft. If the break-in occurred during the storm, the entry point ought to reflect that. Okay, we were on top of that. We did say that. Neil, the genius that Neil is, did address that. Okay. Given the strong winds and torrential rain, you would expect to see staining on the windowsill and the carpet beneath the window. Okay, yeah. And it would be unusual for the window to be left neatly half open rather than disordered. The windows would have kept banging too. While the thief could have timed entry with a thunderclap easily enough, the windows would have been making noise persistently afterwards. It's far more likely that the theft occurred after the storm, when Eldora Watson was asleep and the butler, Matthews, was on his own. Since the gardener was sure no one entered or left after the storm's end, Matthew is the only one who can be responsible. All right. When Miss Miller and her friend confronted him, he confessed to having stolen it in a sudden fit of covetousness. He returned the necklace unharmed and obediently left Eldora's employment without references. All right, we got it wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't like that. That's not a good answer. What about the churned windowsill? What about the dirt? It doesn't... I did have him as my second choice, though, to be fair. I don't... They didn't go over all the details. I do like that it addressed that he would have known she was sleeping. That's fair. I didn't even think of that. Okay, we got one wrong, but we had a close second. Curses. Oh, what's up, Keeping It Criminal? How you doing? Aaron, thank you so much. Aaron says on top of mysteries, if you really watch, most Scooby-Doo villains either broke no crimes or very minor ones, only rarely kidnapping someone. Yeah, it's mostly about just like scaring people. I feel like a lot of their actions aren't criminal. It's more of like a civil issue. Now that you think about it. I should go back and look at that. It's a good point. Best of three. We got one right. We got one wrong. I don't like it. I don't like the answer. But, yeah, this writer does not give much. There's so much, like... well, you know. It's fine. It's look. It's fine. The next book, maybe, we'll have more. Cameo Stark says the book is wrong. Yeah, the book is wrong. That's right. Okay. We can do one more. One more. Rennie, if you wouldn't mind cleaning up our chat real quick. I'll wait. There it is. It's so weird. It's almost like actions have consequences. It's the craziest thing. Oopsie, says Rennie. Take your time. Adjust your halo. I'll wait. It's fine. Anyway. Eva, that's a fair point. The book isn't wrong. It's just difficult if you've ever done an LE. I'm thinking all these extra things. If I hadn't, this would be just a logic puzzle, but that's not how I think of these things at all. So it's fine. Now, take a quick moment to pause, and I'll remind all of you fine folks that this is a place to have fun, be chill. There was a certain individual in our chat that decided that they would come here, and they've been on my channel before to start trouble, but they decided to start trouble during the stream. I saw a couple comments, but when you start swearing, when you start attacking people, when you start insulting people without, reason, then there's really no reason to keep you around. Everyone else here being super chill, and I love it. This is just a chill stream. This is me just getting home after a lot of traveling, after a lot of work, putting a lot of work over the last few days. I don't have a problem with that. It's chill. We're having a good time. Don't try to ruin that for everyone else. Okay. James says, let's all put our thinking caps on for this one. Yes, let's get this one right, folks, because we got one right, one wrong. We gotta, best out of 3. Maybe I should write one of these from the LEO perspective. Oh, that would be fun. Based on actual cases that I've done. That would be fun. I'll look into that. Remind me at some point. Okay. Oh, well, first, you know what? Before we get into it, we should name the mermaid. And the name, we can change the name every once in a while. I was thinking, top super chat gets to name it. So, if you have ideas for what you want this mermaid to be named, this little one right here, let me see if I can get it a little closer for you guys. It's there it is. It is a police mermaid. A little Vanna White for you guys. And no, she does not have a name. But we can fix that. So, whoever has donated the most gets to name her. And that will change. The name will change. And I remember there was a $20. I don't know if they're still here. I don't know if I still can review it. That's fine. See if I can find it. Is Joseph what is this? Pattison still in here? There's no real good reason to keep Joseph in here, huh? And why is Blue Ball saying they're going to be a hostile attack in a minute? Like hostile like the place you stay. What is going on? So confused. Why can't anyone who's actually intelligent ever come after me and make this interesting, you know? Officer Rennie McSwimmy, says James. Mermaidy McMermaid face. All right. U235 says I can come after you if you want. I don't want it. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. It just, they're never intelligent. And sometimes, oh, geez, stop it. Like, back when Merb and I were going back and forth, like, Merb was wrong, but at least he put in a hell of an effort. But then you got these people coming here from PoliceTube, who I assume is sending them, because that's what happens now. And they're just all so dumb. Kills me. Cameo! All right. Detective Crab says, keep me a criminal. Thank you, keep me a criminal. Thank you. But Cameo Stark says, I had the worst week last week, and I'm so glad I made this stream. Also would buy that book, Blue. Mermaid should be Nancy Dace. Nancy Drew, but a fish pun, because why not? Dace. Dace? Fish pun? I don't know enough about fish. I'm assuming that dace is a kind of fish. Dace. Oh, it is. Am I pronouncing it correctly? I've never heard of it before, I don't think. Dace. Okay, it is. All right, well, name at the moment is Nancy Dace. Nope, that's the wrong one. It's all happening backwards. All right. Let me get all these things out of there. We reset the board. Cool. Nanny D. You can refer to her as whatever you want, my dude. Best $20 you ever spent. Good. All right. Are you ready for another one? All right. It's going to be the last one, I think. Unless I get it wrong, in which case we're doing 2 more afterwards. You're the best out of 5. Yes. Okay. Attack among the antiques. The owner of an antique store, Hiram Beauchamp. Why are all the names awful? Not that they're bad names. It's just like, they can't be like Sam Jacob. It's got to be Hiram Beauchamp. Who wrote this? Who did this? Tim Didopoulos. All right, well, his name's Didopoulos. Of course, he's going to put weird names in here. It's fine. Good for him. It's fine. Yeah. The owner of an antique store, Hiram Beauchamp. Beauchamp. I don't know how. Beauchamp. We're doing Beauchamp. Had been attacked by a masked assailant on Tuesday night. Just 2 days beforehand, Beauchamp had attended a large annual auction of orphaned goods. The summer sell-off and purchased a significant amount of stock. A number of small, valuable pieces had been stolen from his stock and shop floor, and Beauchamp himself had received a nasty blow to the head. Earlier in the day, Parnacki visited his hospital bed to conduct an initial interview. A few things, orphan goods, just like abandoned. What are orphan goods? Also, Parnacki. Now, Parnacki is the name of the investigator that pops up in this book every once in a while. He was in the initial story, which is The Intruder. So, Parnacki. Inspector Parnacki. Yes. In case we're wondering and curious. Cool. Who is texting me? Beecham? It's pronounced Beecham? No. Y'all crazy. See, I was thinking Beauchamp, but then I kept saying champ, and I was like, Beauchamp. Screw it, we'll just do it. Beecham. Beecham is easier to say. I will give you that. All right, Beecham it is. All right. Hiram Beach. Okay, shh. Okay, I get it. Shh. It's tucked under my leg, so every time it goes off, just Beecham. I don't like it. That's fine. All right, Hiram Beecham. I'm spelling it Beecham then. I'm not spelling it Beauchamp. Don't like it. No, thank you. Okay. But it's fine. All right, so he's in the hospital bed. Parnacki is visiting him to conduct an initial interview. That's where we're at right now that the Beecham debacle is over. He was... Wait, no, hold on, I need a voice. He was a big guy. Beecham told him. I feel like that's the right voice for a Beecham.
Taller than me, broad in the shoulder, muscular. You know the type. Like a navvy.
It's like a sailor, I'm guessing is navvy.
Quick, British people, help me out.
What is a navvy? I'll keep going. You want him to be Kermit. Tell you why, if there are any other people in this story, one of them will be Kermit. Navvy. Navvy. I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to check back with my chat.
He came at me. I just turned the main light off. I didn't get a great look. He was masked anyway. Some mesh flattening his face, tight black clothing. I grabbed a poker and swung it at him good. He just blocked it with his forearm, smacked me straight out with a kosh.
Now, a kosh, if I remember correctly, is like a bag full of a weighted object. Like a blackjack. Am I thinking this is definitely much more British than I'm used to? But I'm pretty sure that's what that is. We'll get to a break in this, and I'll check. I'll look it up.
I woke up here. There doesn't seem to be any brain damage. Nose is mashed, though. Doc says I'm lucky. I believe him. Hope you can get this guy, Inspector. He's a brute.
All right. Navvy is navigator. Oh, okay. So would that still be like a navy? Okay, so it's still... Navvy. Laborer employed in the excavation and construction of a road, railroad, or canal. What are you doing, England? Just say construction worker or something, you crazy. Okay, well, actually, that makes sense, because if it is like a navvy, like something you would navigate, like a road or canal, or railroad. I'm so mad at this. Nothing makes sense in this story. We're like 2 paragraphs in. All right. What is it? What is he attacked with? Let me check this real quick. The kosh. Weapon. Oh, it's more of a stick than a sack. Got it. So it's like a club. Here I was thinking it was more like a thing filled with stuff. That's fine. British, am I right? Here in America, we use guns. Anyway, James K. says, let's skip this one. Thank you for your donation, James. I'm afraid we're already in. We can't back out now. Sheriff Fishy DeWitt says UKPI. Oh, thank you. I love it. All right. The responding officers had canvassed the area around the store, good plan, and come up with a short list of 4 suspects who had the opportunity for the crime for Inspector Parnacki to interview. He decided to start his interviews by talking to Gordon Henderson, Beecham's current assistant. That right. Gordon. At least he has a name I can pronounce. When Henderson entered the interview room, he was wearing smart trousers and a starched shirt, open at the collar with the sleeves rolled up. He looked downcast and worried. Henderson was no taller than Hiram Beecham himself, maybe 5'7". Now, that already not the guy. The guy was taller than Beecham. And he was slender, so this isn't it. Is Hiram okay? He asked Parnacki urgently. The inspector nodded, and Henderson relaxed immediately. Oh, thank God, he said. I suppose you want to know about my movements last night. I finished work at 5:30, and yesterday I went straight home. Becky and I, she's my wife, had dinner with our friends next door. We were there until 9 p.m. I understand you have to talk to everyone, but I hope you can let me out soon. Becky will worry. I don't... I'm going to put too small. We'll put him on our list because the police thought it was important, but we're gonna put him right there at the bottom. There it is. All right. Sweet. Matt Gerber was Beecham's assistant before Henderson. Like most of the suspects, he was a tall, meaty man. Now we're getting somewhere. He was wearing jeans and a dark leather jacket over a button-down shirt. I worked for old Hiram for a few months, he said. He looked hot. It's probably that leather jacket. Oh, wink. It was okay, but the work was real boring, you know. Truth is, I'm not real interested in old stuff. I tried to tough it out, but I ended up getting too sick of it. My girl, she don't like it if I quit a job, so I got him to fire me instead. I was out on the town last night, met up with a couple of boys, had some drinks. They'll vouch for me. All right, he's got an alibi. That's good for him. Now, Flower Girl, that he could have been wearing heels. It's very true. It's very true. But he wasn't slim. All right, Mac. Out with the boys. She's got an alibi. Smart man. We'll put him on the board, but he's going to be also at the bottom. Antique store. Now, he was fired. Normally firing would be like, now we have a reason to suspect a little something. But if he didn't want to work there, and he didn't really like old stuff, he probably wouldn't know it was valuable. He doesn't really have a reason to attack our victim, Hiram, for being fired. I'm not feeling it. I mean, he was masked. The guy was masked, which maybe means that Hiram would have known the guy, but masked is just a common thing. Oh, Kermit. Yeah, next one's going to be Kermit. Thank you for reminding me. Local workman Chaz Matheson. Again with the names. It's fine. Chaz is going to be Kermit. It's fine. Was up a build with Gerber. Okay, so also a meaty man. He had a sullen face and short, almost military hair. This is the guy who's going to be Kermit. Great. He's wearing a light, short-sleeved shirt and a pair of slacks. Yeah, I know the man you... I know. I hate all of you. I know the old man you mean, he said. It's fine. I never been into his shop, though. Not my sort of scene in a place like that. My room comes with enough furniture and bad old pictures. I finished at 6 and went out, got some food at the tavern, then went and hit some bars. That's about it. No, I don't really remember where I ended up. I had a couple at the tavern, which is less than a block from the old man's place, and then I went wandering. I do that sometimes. I stopped in at a couple of places that I didn't know. You gotta try new stuff, right? All right, Chaz. I hate that you are our best suspect so far. I hate it. I didn't realize I was still on that board. We're going to do that again, because I was on that board and I didn't realize. Local workman Chaz Matheson. Names. Was up a build with Gerber, a meaty man. It doesn't say that, but that's the build of Gerber. I'm repeating these things because I'm going to edit this down into a more consumable format. So we got to keep the jokes in. Folks, this is what happens behind the scenes. He had a sullen face and short, almost military hair. He was wearing a light, short-sleeved shirt and a pair of slacks. Yeah, I know the old man you mean, he said. I never been to his shop, though. Not my sort of scene. A place like that. My room comes with enough furniture and bad old pictures. Yay! I finished at 6 and went out, got some food at the tavern, then went and hit some bars. That's about it. No, I don't really remember where I ended up. I had a couple at the tavern, which is less than a block from the old man's place. Then I just went wandering. I do that sometimes. I stopped in at a couple of places I didn't know. You gotta try new stuff, right? Yeah. All right, Chaz. Chaz. Drinking in the area. Chaz. Drinking in area. All right. I'm going to put him there. There's still room above him. There's still room below him. We'll find out who the fourth person is and how good they are. Where's Kermit? Oh, Kermit's not here because you bought me a thing that doesn't show up because of the green screen. Rennie sent me a Kermit thing, and it's great, but this isn't real. This is a bunch of green, and it turns out when you put green anywhere on this screen that you're watching me through, as in if I put it down, not if you put, don't worry about it. If I put Kermit here, he would not show up. It would be a Kermit-sized hole. I don't have him here. I think he's upstairs in my laundry room. The only other room I have in this house. It's fine. It's not easy being green. Credit to Eva for that one. The final suspect, Wayman Shuttles, had a history of petty theft and mugging. I have the perfect voice for him. He can be found most nights at the same bar Matheson had mentioned, the Tavern. He, too, was strongly muscled and over 6 feet in height. Ooh, okay, all right. He sounds, it sounds like he matches the dude. He was wearing cut-off trousers and a sleeveless vest, along with an expression of impatient annoyance. What is it this time, Paddington? He demanded. Does the famous inspector need to fill up some quota, maybe? Take off your hassle saddles box for the quarter. I ain't doing nothing to nobody or nowhere, and that's official. Last night, I was in the tavern, just like you know. I go there about 5, and I didn't budge until they closed. Lila was working the bar. She'll tell you all about it. Her and a dozen other regulars, so charge me. Or let me go. It's boiling in here. Parnacki came out of the interview room and nodded to the duty sergeant. We can let 3 of these men go. No, I can't. Hold on. Let me restart that. Parnacki came out of the interview room and nodded to the duty sergeant. We can let 3 of these men go right away, he said. Who does Parnacki suspect and why? Now, the hint is the season. But I haven't put our boy Wyman Sattles up here. Again, I don't like the people who are written to be too strong of a suspect. I just don't trust it. Not much clothing. Not much clothing on our boy Wayman. Yeah, I'm going to put him there. All right. The season. Does this make a mention of what season this was? It does. It was autumn, right? It was autumn. No, summer. It was, it was summer. The summer sell-off. So this was summer. Okay, now who's wearing what? All right. The guy who hit him, tight black clothing, muscular, like a navvy. So someone who works, does physical labor as a profession, and is muscular. Tight clothing. We don't have anything about the face. Taller, bigger than Beecham. Can deflect a poker with an arm. Good for him. Leather jacket in the summer. Can deflect a poker with the arm. That would leave bruising. That would leave substantial bruising. You'd want to cover the arm because of the bruise. Our boy, the one who's written to sound like the suspect, Wayman, he was not wearing anything with sleeves at all, was he? Let me see. Strong and muscular, 6 feet in height. He was wearing cut-off trousers and a sleeveless vest. And that's it. No. Unless that is the case, and they're just going to say, Parnacki saw the bruising and therefore knew it was him. But then that doesn't match the hint. I'm going to take our boy Wayman and put him all the way down here. I'm just not feeling it. We're going to put a little red dot on that. I don't think so. All right, so what were the other two wearing? I don't feel that it was Henderson because he was small. He does have a starched shirt with the sleeves rolled up, so we'd see the bruising on him as well. That'll be Gordon here. So I'm going to say no to Gordon as well. Mac Gerber. Yeah, Mac Gerber. Wearing jeans and dark leather jacket over his button-down shirt. He would have known. Okay, so he worked for Hiram. So he would have known about a bunch of stuff related to that. The shop, what was being sold, when it was being sold. He would have been familiar with the items that were valuable, which ones weren't, what was stolen. A number of small valuable pieces had been stolen from his stock room and shop floor, which makes me think that someone knew what was valuable, unless stuff was labeled with a price tag. But the stuff in the stock room presumably would not have been labeled.
I'm sorry, blue
with a price
bologna,
tag.
bologna
Yeah,
called
so someone would have needed it. Baseface, thank you. Baseface says, anyone sound like Clint Eastwood a la Dirty Harry yet? Sorry, I just got here. By the way, Blue Bacon, your walking impression is hilarious. Thank you. It's, something I probably need to work on, but it's whatever. I'll have to look into doing a Clint Eastwood. I don't know. I'd have to work on a Dirty Harry impression. I have to give that a shot. I have to practice that off camera. UKPI says, just say we need more cowbells. We need more cowbells. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you. I got a favor. Hiram. I think you're right. Am I saying Hiram? Hiram. I don't look. Whoever writes this is doing this. Knew that I'd be reading this. Like, hey, let's make this difficult for Blue. Yeah. All right. So leather jacket though. Mac. Mac. I don't know, man. I'm feeling it. It's summer. It's real warm for a leather jacket. And our boy who attacked Beecham was wearing dark clothing. Tight black clothing. So we know he wears black. If there's a dark leather jacket. He looked hot. All right, hold on a second. He looked hot. Matt Gerber looked hot, which means that this is not a normal amount of clothing for him to wear. He's wearing that jacket to cover something up, like a bruise. Yes, I think it's Mac. This one feels a lot easier than the last one. All right, we still have Chaz. Now, Chaz was wearing short-sleeved shirt. It's like, look. All right, well, now that's too easy. The last one was like all sorts of weirdness. Yeah, there we go. Magnets, how do they even work, man? I don't even know. All of the rest of them had their arms exposed. Mac didn't. All right. He's too hot to be wearing that jacket. It is the summer. He would have known what's in the back room and what was valuable. He worked there, so he's familiar with the inventory. He would have known Hiram's activity, his hours, what his normal whatnot is. All right. Hiram Beecham had just been attacked by a mass assailant on Tuesday night. Just 2 days beforehand, Beecham attended a large annual auction for goods. Summer sell-off and purchased a significant amount of stock. He would have known how to get in. He would have maybe still had a copy of a key. When was he fired? Doesn't say. Met up with a couple of the boys, had some drinks, they'll vouch for me. Now, initially, I thought, meeting up with the boys, he's got an alibi. The boys will vouch for him. I don't know. Even if I tell you, then you're going to reveal all the secrets. Unless you just give me hints. It's Whodunit Mysteries by Tim Didopoulos. It says, pit your wits against our team of sleuths to solve the cases. Let me give you I'll show you the front of, wait, this way. There we go. Whodunit Mysteries, if you want it for yourself. It is a lot of fun. I recommend buying this for yourself because if we can generate revenue to this author, they might not be mad that I am reading it on a live stream. Other suspects are his boys. Eva says he was fired, but he tried to get fired because he didn't want to quit because his girl would get mad at him if he quit, so he had to be fired instead. I think the answer is going to be like, they went and talked to the boys, and the boys were like, nah, dude, he left for a second. Because he wouldn't have needed to be gone for very long. If he's... Hold on. Wait. They gave a location. He was drinking at the tavern. And then he wandered. No, that's Chaz. Oh, I'm getting all confused. All right. Was out on the town last night. Met up with a couple of boys. Had some drinks. They'll vouch for me. And then Chaz Matheson was also out drinking. Went out to get some food at the tavern. Then went to hit some bars. Wayman Suttles was also the tavern. That's the one that Matheson was in. Matt Gerber doesn't say where he met up with the boys to have some drinks. I mean, I know who it is. It has to be Mac because the arm is going to be bruised from where the dude was hit with the iron. I'm saying our first dude is definitely out because he's too small. He's definitely too small. Well, who's our first dude? Henderson. Henderson is out. He's too small. His arms are exposed. Max is the only one whose arms aren't exposed. He matches the description. He would have had knowledge to accomplish this. He's the only one where we don't have an actual location where he was drinking. Let's see, where was he hit in the arm? He was a big guy, taller than me, broad on the shoulder, muscular, know the type. I didn't get a great look. He was masked anyway, some mesh flying in his face, tight black clothing. I grabbed a poker and swung it at him good. He just blocked it with his forearm. Smacked me straight out with a kosh, which I have learned is a club. You think that's a red herring? You think the forearm is the red herring? I mean, yeah, the writer uses that a lot. Red herrings are super common in these types of things. I think Chaz Matheson is the red herring here. Because he was just like angry and like, oh, I was moving around. Oh, all suspicious. Like, No. I'm sorry. Wayman Suttles, I think, is the red herring because he has a history of petty theft and mugging. Strongly muscled. Our guy was described as being muscled. Whatever. Is there anyone else that got hit? I don't believe so. Everyone else had exposed forearms. If any of the other ones had exposed forearms, certainly, I mean, that would have been brought up, right? So this has to be written in a way where whoever doesn't have their forearms exposed has to be the person, because otherwise it would be too much of a clue to avoid writing about. And what else is there that actually gives us enough information to determine which of the other three that it is? The ones here that don't have their arms covered. That would be Chaz, Gordon, and Wayman. Let me just... There we go. Right? All of them have their sleeves uncovered. And I don't think there's enough information to determine if that sleeve is a red herring, which of these other three would be. Comfort Doll, it says he blocked it, so there may not have been much bruising. Regardless of where it hit, blocking, if someone swings an object at you like that, in self-defense, you're going to be swinging it hard. And it was like a poker, like a fire poker. That's probably going to be wrought iron. Wherever it hits you, you're going to be bruised. And enough time should have passed for the bruising to become evident. Attacked by masked assailant on Tuesday night. I don't know how much time has passed. Doesn't say, what hand they were. Just says he used a kosh to knock out Beecham. Yeah, the guy's wearing a leather jacket in summer and he's sweating, which is an indicator that this is not his normal, or he's hot, is what it said he was. He looked hot, which is an indicator that he doesn't normally wear this kind of clothing at this, in this temperature. So it's unreasonable for him to even wear that unless he has a reason to, and the reason presumably would be to hide bruising on his arm. And the hint is the season, so presumably it's temperature related. I'm going to lock it in. I'm saying it's Mac. I'm locking that answer. I have to get it right, though. I have to get 2 out of 3. What do we think? It was U235? Criminal scum. There you go. It was U235, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Oh, this is the part that I hate. Let's find out if I'm right. All right. Affixing. No. Okay. Attack. There it is. Attack among the antiques. Answer. Beecham swung a poker at the assailant. Did I lock that in correctly or what? I don't know yet. We haven't gotten to but I got that part right. I definitely called out the correct bit of information. Start. Attack among the antiques. Solution. Beecham swung a poker at the assailant, which he blocked with his forearm. At the very least, that's going to leave a significant bruise. I still got it. We had some doubts after the last one, but I got it. Gerber, the former employee, which is Mac, by the way, is wearing a heavy jacket despite the heat. When Parnacki asked him to remove it, he immediately broke down and admitted to the robbery. If only it was that easy in real life. His time working with Beecham had given him good knowledge of the best times to rob this store. Ha ha! Ha! The big bopper just fell over when I hit the desk. Did it. Nailed it. Got it. Lock him away. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for assisting me in solving those murders. Couldn't have done it without you. It's good times, good stuff. We're going to do this again. I had a lot of fun doing this. U235 got away with it. With the best. Yeah. I'm going to look into maybe writing one of these myself, publishing it for you guys. Yeah. What do you guys think? You like it? Beans the cat did it. Excellent. Well, couldn't have done it without you guys. You know how it is. Got a couple more minutes. We can just hang out and talk. Would I take user... If you write me a mystery, I absolutely would love to solve it on stream, because then I don't have to worry about copyrights. I do have one. I found a book that was published before the 1930s. The copyright has expired on it. The problem is, I've read through a couple of them, the problem is the mysteries rely on some very old information that would be known at the time, but is not really that well known now. So I'm definitely going to go through some of them, but it's going to be very, very hit or miss. And we're going to have to establish what the punishment for getting these wrong is. So I think that's going to be important. I mean, please write me some. Someone's out there with a big old engine driving by. That'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, Kaylee. There's the pipe. I haven't pulled this thing out in a while. Yeah, it's too bad Blue's Clues has already been taken as a name, because I would definitely call this Blue's Clues. James K, thank you. It says, I just want to say this was much more fun, I think, than discussing a Florida police impersonator. So much more chill and not anger generating. You know, there is more to talk about with DeWitt. I just don't want to talk about it. I said I was going to end when he was incarcerated, and I'm okay with that decision. Yes, there is more content. There's more stuff happening in relation to it. Seek out other people. I'm not calling you out, James. No. Some people have been like, when's the next one? There isn't one. I'm very happy to just be like, all right. There is one more video. One more video is coming out because I did promise you all that there would be a musical. I did promise you that. Yes. It's happening. We're getting close to finishing it. I'm not going to give you details yet. Critique of a Sherlock Holmes story. Plenty of Sherlock Holmes stories are. Heck, I got the illustrated Sherlock Holmes Treasury, revised and expanded, right here. We could definitely go over some of them and say, was this reasonable or not? Yes, that would be fun. We should do that. That's a good plan. But absolutely, if you guys want to write me a mystery, make sure it's solvable, right? And not too open-ended. I mean, you can do what you want. We'll see what happens. I might get mad at you, though. I'm like, there are too many options. But at the same time, we get to learn about, how this might be investigated if there were, if it was very open-ended, which might also be fun. Regarding auditors, what would it take to crush Glenn Serio? He's an embarrassment to the state of Washington. It affects my blood pressure. Oh, at some point, I think I might become a part of Glenn Serio's life. He's not that far from me. I know where he lives. Might be able to find him out and about. I'll wait till he becomes pretty active and maybe see if I can audit him while he's auditing. If you guys are in the area, Afterlife is saying, please let me join you. I'll bring the coffee and beer. And by all means, but we're going to keep it reasonable and polite. We're not going to attack him like he attacks people. Oh, no. There's a bit of candle there. It's fine. Yeah. Yeah, if you're in my area, if you're in Washington, if you're on the west side of Washington, I can do like a meetup, hangout type situation. I think it'd be great. Yeah, James K says, thank you, by the way, James says, stream with you, deerstalker hat and pipe and Holmes. I don't have a deerstalker hat, but I could get one. That would be fun. He's out of jail now, right? Because I know he spent like 6 days in jail. That was a while ago, yeah. Is he back out and about doing his thing? New British TV show, Murder Island. No, but now I'm curious. Oh, Sarah Marie, I actually might take you up on having you there to just pop in to correct me on some Britishisms. That's fair. You know what? I probably need that. See if he wants to sweep my leg. I'll just put a target on my leg, like sweep here. I'll hand him a broom. He's like, you want to sweep my leg? So I know you're not going to do it physically. I know you can't take me. No way. I would absolutely, if Glenn challenged me, I would absolutely take him on in an organized event for charity. I would not fight him on the street. I would defend myself, but he's not going to attack me. But if he really wanted to take it to a ring, I would televise that. Well, stream it. I'd be gentle with him. The beautiful thing is I know enough about Glenn. He's not going to get me worked up. Maybe. Be interesting to find out. Just stay upwind. Oh, his attorney appealed it, so he didn't actually go to jail? Yeah. I see. Bring a boombox to deal with copyright music. There are ways around that now. You can actually, YouTube has a thing where it will remove the audio. It will make the audio not as good, but it will remove the song. I'm not interested in. I'm not trying to stop him from auditing. I just want to be involved a little bit in a professional, non-illegal way. Okay, so he has a new trial date next month. I'll look into it. Yeah. All right, well, I should probably get going, ladies and gentlemen. I had so much fun doing this. It was super chill, nice and relaxed. We're definitely going to do it again. I'm going to take this, I'm going to edit it down so that other people can watch it, have fun. Maybe next time we'll bring in more people, get more opinions, so I can get them all correct. But we got to think of, put in the comments, if you think of a punishment, a reasonable punishment, ladies and gentlemen, if I get the case wrong, put it down in the comments section. I'll look over them. We'll think of something. Yeah. That's why I'm thinking strawberry tea has to stay out of trouble till February. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think until the court day actually goes through, he's hopefully going to lay low. But it's him. He's not terribly bright. Shot at absinthe. YouTube doesn't really like streams with alcohol. I don't have absinthe. But I do have some silly juice. Definitely not alcoholic. Rennie would murder me. I don't hate that idea, though. Every time I get it wrong, make a donation to a specific charity we choose for these solved case streams. Now there's a fun idea. I've got it. We're going to have a wheel, a little spinning wheel. Come up with a bunch of ideas. If I get it wrong, we spin the wheel, and then it's a randomized punishment. One of them is going to be charity, though, for sure. I love that idea. That's a great idea. One of them might be some silly juice. I tell you what, if I get him in a post office, so I catch him in a post office, I'm going to go up to whoever the employee is and explain how Post 7 actually works. Be like, look, you have conditions of entry and occupation. You can tell him to stop filming. If he doesn't, he is violating the conditions of entry and occupation, specifically occupation, and you can tell him to leave. If he does not leave, it is trespassing. It is absolutely trespassing. Now, it may be in your best interest to call up the postmaster and say, hey, we got a guy filming. People are reacting negatively to it. It is causing a disturbance. It is interfering with the post office's established mission and goals, right? It is unreasonably and unnecessarily interfering with the mail. And that is why we need to prohibit his filming. If I explained all of that in a better way than I just did now to the employee and said, these are your options. Would you like me to call the police for you? Wouldn't that be fun? Because there's not usually someone with a specific knowledge of this situation to counter an auditor. Ooh. I'm not going to do absinthe. It's a very strong licoricey taste. I'll find something. Is federal trespass a more serious offense? Probably not. Not for a post office. It really depends on the type of, like, what's happening exactly. Like, if it was a trespass onto, like, an unoccupied federal property. Like, if you were trespassing onto the post office when everything was closed and you, like, broke in. Yeah, that would be a pretty big deal. That'd be actually, like, breaking and entering. But I'd have to check what the federal law would be. We'd see. Yeah. I wouldn't live stream it. I'd film it, but I wouldn't live stream it. I don't know if I'd film if I went into the post office. Because I can't film without permission. And I can't secretly record people. So I might just end up on his stream if he posts it. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. Interfering with the function of the post office. That's what I'm thinking of. I can't think of the words. Do postal inspectors actually go out and patrol? Postal inspector is more of a making sure everything's running functionally. It's not like there's like security forces, something like that actually do the sort of police and security functions in a post office. Washington is a two-party consent state for recording, yes. Aaron says, I love how you're putting more thought into this than the fraud auditors do. It's yes, you are correct. I do put more thought into this. When I'm going to do a stream where we're just going to review auditors, maybe just Glenn Serio, I don't know. I'm going to explain how much thought really does need to be put into it. I did get cranky Patriot News to turn off comments on one of his videos because he couldn't win an argument against me and he got mad. But postal inspectors are federal law enforcement. They, in the sense that it's sort of like a detective thing where, you know, they'll investigate stuff, but it's not necessarily often from, you know, anywhere other than a desk. They're not like going out on patrols and like doing traffic stop type situations. But like they'll go and do interviews, I believe. I'm not really sure. I don't think I've ever worked with the postal inspector on a crime. But the post office does have their own law enforcement division for that kind of investigation stuff. I am very quickly getting out of my area of expertise on law enforcement, though. I never paid much attention to them. I could definitely do some research and get back to you guys, but yeah, we're definitely going to go over some of the stuff that Cranky has said and just basically laugh at him. He's not a dumb person. He's clearly intelligent, but he's used to being intelligent. Now that he's found himself in a situation where he does not know that much about the topic, he's trying really hard to be right, and like, oh boy, is he getting some very basic things wrong. The dude is not an idiot. And I hate to underestimate people, so I wouldn't go out of my way to be like, oh, what a dummy. Glenn Serio, he's a dummy. Cranky, there are some brains in there. He's just using the emotions and trying to find facts that support the emotions instead of trying to find facts that support the facts, you know? If that makes sense. I was going to end the stream like 15 minutes ago. It's all good. It's all good. We'll go into that more. I'll try to do a stream as soon as I can about auditors. I think that would be a fun stream to do. But 100%. Anyway, I do got to get out of here. Y'all have been great. I've had a ton of fun. Thank you so much for joining me in this. We're going to do it again. Of course. How could we not? So for those of you who donated, thank you so much. For those of you who participated, you're fantastic as well. Come back to the next one. Do this again for sure. But until the next time, be good and stay safe.